Ever wonder what the real secret is behind a truly exceptional glass of white wine? I mean, it's not just the soil or how old the vine is. It really comes down to a single, high-stakes decision that changes everything. And today, we're going to crack the code on that perfect moment. When you look at a glass of wine like this, the answer isn't exactly obvious, right? But believe me, the most critical choice was made long, long before this wine ever saw a bottle. It all boils down to one simple question. Exactly when do you pick the grapes? So, let's approach this like a detective story. The winemaker, they're our lead investigator, and their mission, their entire focus is to solve the case of the perfect grape. See, picking isn't just about grabbing fruit off a vine. It's a judgment call where timing is absolutely everything. And that challenge is huge. It's not about just waiting for grapes to get super sweet. No, it's about finding this incredibly thin window of time, a moment where the sugar for the alcohol, the acid for that fresh zing, and all those amazing aromatic compounds for flavor are in this perfect, fleeting balance. If you miss that window, the soul of the wine is just gone. Okay, so every good investigation has to start with gathering the evidence. For a winemaker, that means heading straight into the vineyard for some really meticulous and scientific sampling. The strategy here is actually pretty fascinating. A winemaker can't just taste one grape and say, okay, we're good to go. They literally map out the entire vineyard, and they divide it into these uniform blocks. They even stay away from the edges, because those vines might be affected by roads or trees. It's all about getting a clean, totally representative sample. And the detail at the micro level, it's incredible. Our detective follows a really specific route, collecting berries from all over the vine. Think about it. Grapes on the outside get more sun, so they ripen faster than the ones hidden inside. So they have to take samples from the top, the bottom, inside, and out just to get a complete, unbiased picture of the whole vineyard. And this is definitely not a one-and-done kind of deal. This investigation kicks off at what's called varietal. That's just the fancy word for when the grapes start to ripen and change color. At first, they might sample every week or two. But as harvest gets closer, they're out in that field 2, maybe 3 times a week and always at the same time of day, just to make sure all the data is totally consistent. So our detective has the evidence, but what exactly are they looking for? Well, it turns out ripeness isn't just one single thing. It's actually a series of different stages, and a great winemaker has to know how to read every single one of them. So the very first stage is what we call physiological maturity. This is really the plant's only goal, right? The seeds inside are now viable. They can germinate and create a new vine. So from the grape's point of view, its job is done. But for the winemaker, no, the real work is just getting started. Next up, you've got industrial maturity. You can kind of think of this as ripeness for quantity. The grape clusters have hit their max weight, and the sugar levels have pretty much plateaued. This is the perfect target if you're making bulk wine, where getting the biggest yield is what really matters. But for quality, the real target is technological maturity. Now, this isn't about maximums, it's all about perfect balance. It's that sweet spot where the grape has the ideal chemistry to create the specific style of wine that the winemaker is dreaming of. It's a moving target that's defined purely by intent. I mean, this comparison really says it all. Industrial maturity is all about getting the most sugar and the most weight, perfect for that large-scale production. Technological maturity, though, is about artistry. It's about nailing that perfect symphony of sugar, acid, and aroma that you need for a specific high-quality wine. Now, along with all the lab tests, winemakers still totally rely on their senses. The original detective's field guide. They'll taste the pulp for sweetness and acidity. They'll feel the skin between their fingers. They even chew the seeds. An unripe seed is green and bitter, but a perfectly ripe one? It'll be brown and have this nutty, kind of toasted flavor. Every single sensation is another clue. And now we get to the big reveal, the central twist in our whole case. Because for white wines, the most important clue isn't sugar at all. It's something much more delicate and way more important for that vibrant character that we all love. This right here, this is the key. Those aromas, the beautiful floral notes, the citrus, the fruit, they actually hit their peak before the grape is at its absolute sweetest. So if a winemaker just waits for maximum sugar, they've already missed the moment of peak aromatic intensity. Okay, just look at the graph. The evidence is right there. That sugar line, number 1, it just keeps on climbing. But now Now look at curve number 4. That represents the varietal aromas. See how it hits a very distinct peak and then actually starts to fall, all while the sugar is still going up? That peak is the magic window. This is the aha moment for our detective. This whole concept, it's got a name: aromatic maturity. This is the true north, the real goal for crafting premium white wines. And it often means you have to harvest a week or even 2 weeks earlier than you would if you were just chasing sugar. It's all about capturing those fresh, intense, and vibrant aromas when they are at their absolute best. So, all the evidence is in. The ideal moment has been identified. But the case isn't closed just yet. Nope. Now, the winemaker has to act, and they are in a dead sprint against all kinds of external threats. A sudden rainstorm can bloat the grapes, which dilutes the flavor and invites rot. Fungal diseases like botrytis can completely wipe out those delicate aromas we were just talking about. And even tiny little pests can damage the grape skins, opening the door for infection. The pressure to get those grapes picked is just immense. And then there's the question of how they get the grapes in. You can do it by hand, which is really gentle and allows for careful selection, but it's slow and it costs a lot more. Or you can use a machine, which is incredibly fast and lets you pick at night when it's cool, which is a huge advantage. But the trade-off? It can be a little rougher on the grapes. And the work isn't even over when the grapes leave the vine. To preserve that perfect quality, you have to harvest for aroma, you have to get the grapes to the winery quickly and gently, you got to keep them cool to prevent oxidation, and then you have to press the juice super carefully. Every single step is absolutely vital. So the next time you pour yourself a glass of crisp, aromatic white wine, you'll know the secret isn't just luck. It's a calculated decision, a perfect moment, captured in a bottle. Now, the winemaker's job is done, but here's a question for you. Which clue will you look for in your next glass, the sweetness or the scent?